What if I told you that one of the world's most electrifying footballers, a king, crowned by one of football's most passionate fan bases, was once cast aside, deemed a failure, and written off as not good enough for the big leagues? This is that story. A story of impossible journeys and crushing defeats on the road to becoming a legend. And trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more incredible stories from the legends of Football League. Our story begins in Nagrig, a humble village nestled by the gentle flow of the Nile River in Egypt. Here life moved to a different rhythm, simple, slow, a world away from the roaring stadiums and dazzling lights of professional football. It seemed a place that held no promise of an extraordinary future. And it was here on June 15, 1992, that a boy named Mohamed Salah was born into a modest family. His father, a government employee, shared a love that coursed through the veins of the entire village, an absolute undying passion for football. That love, like a sacred inheritance, was passed on to his young son. For little Salah, football was never just a game. It was his entire reason for being. The sun-beaten dusty streets of Nagrig were his first grand stadium. His football wasn't a perfect stitched leather sphere. No, it was whatever. He could find a bundle of old rags tied tightly with string, a stray orange, anything that could roll. He and his friends would chase that makeshift ball from the first light of dawn until the sky turned a deep, inky black, often forgetting to eat, forgetting that time even existed. The young Salah was a slip of a boy, skinny and small, but he possessed two gifts that couldn't be taught: a blistering lightning speed and a left foot that seemed to have a mind of its own, a magical, tricky wand that could conjure the impossible. His bedroom walls were a shrine to the gods of the game: Ronaldo de Lima, Il Fenomeno, the Brazilian force of nature; the elegant master Zinedine Zidane, and the eternal captain of Rome, Francesco Totti. He would stare at their posters for hours, dreaming that one day he too could stride out onto those hallowed turfs under the roar of 100,000 fans. For a boy from Nagrig, it was a dream so distant, so audacious, it bordered on fantasy. But Mohamed Salah didn't just dream, he acted. His raw, untamed talent was impossible to ignore, and it soon caught the eye of local scouts. He joined a few small clubs near his home, but his ambition burned far brighter than the local stage. The real door opened when he was accepted into the academy of El Mokhaloun, a major club based in the sprawling, chaotic capital, Cairo. This news was a moment of pure joy, but it was immediately followed by the terrifying realization of a colossal challenge. You see, Nagrig is over 150 kilometers from Cairo. To get to training, the boy, who was then just 14 years old, had to embark on a journey that sounds almost unbelievable. Every single day, he'd walk a long way from his house, then cram himself onto 3, 4, sometimes 5 different buses, each one packed with the noise and sweat of the daily grind. He left his home at 9 in the morning, rattled along for hours, and finally arrived at the training ground at 2 in the afternoon. He would train with everything he had for 2 hours, and then, exhausted, begin the exact same marathon journey back home. He rarely saw his own bed before 10 o'clock at night. Just take a moment and imagine that. A teenager, day in and day out, spending nearly 9 hours of his life just traveling, all for 2 hours of football. He ate on those buses. He slept on those buses, his head rattling against the window. He tried to do his homework as the vehicle lurched through traffic. So many others would have given up. Anyone would have called the sacrifice insane, impossible. But for Salah, it was simply the price. It was the only way. Every crowded bus, every drop of sweat on that long road was another step closer to the dream. That extraordinary, unbreakable determination forged in the fires of those endless journeys became the very foundation of the man he was destined to become. What would you have done in his shoes? At 14, facing that impossible journey every single day, would you have found the strength to continue? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. It's a testament to what the human spirit can endure for a dream. And the sacrifice paid off. At just 18 years old, he made his debut for El Mokolun's first team. He was one of the youngest players in the entire league, a blur of motion on the wing, a whirlwind of terrifying speed that left defenders grasping at air. His finishing, you could see, was still raw, unpolished. But absolutely no one could deny his immense, frightening potential. He quickly became a vital player for the team, a spark of hope. But then, just as Salah's career was beginning to soar, a dark shadow fell over Egyptian football. An event so horrific, it would change everything. On February 1st, 2012, after a match between Al Masry and Al Ahly at the Portside Stadium, a riot of unimaginable violence broke out. Thousands of fans stormed the pitch, armed with knives, clubs, and bottles, attacking players and opposing supporters. The beautiful game turned into a scene of pure horror. The tragedy claimed the lives of 74 people and left over 500 injured. It remains the darkest day in the history of Egyptian sports. In the aftermath, a nation mourned. The Egyptian government, in a state of shock, decided to suspend the National League indefinitely. For a young, hungry player like Salah, desperate to prove himself, this was a devastating blow. The pitches fell silent. The stadiums were empty. The future became a terrifying blank page. The dream of playing in Europe, once a distant fantasy, now became the only possible escape route. But as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. The tragedy and a strange twist of fate forced Egyptian players to look for opportunities abroad. The Swiss club FC Basel, hearing about the talent stranded in Egypt, arranged a friendly match with the Egypt U23 team specifically to scout these young players. This was it. This was the one chance. In that match, Salah came on as a substitute and played like a man possessed, like his entire life depended on it. He scored 2 goals, a breathtaking brace that left the Basel management in absolute awe. They were immediately convinced. They had to sign this kid. In April 2012, Mohamed Salah officially signed for FC Basel. He was in Europe, but the new life was a brutal shock. The biting cold of Switzerland, a world away from the Egyptian sun, a language he couldn't understand, a culture that felt alien. He was desperately homesick, missing his family and struggling to connect with his new teammates. But on the pitch, he let his feet do all the talking. He exploded onto the scene, quickly becoming a star in the Swiss Super League, helping Basel clinch the championship in his very first season. But the real stage, the one where legends are born, was in Europe. He delivered a brilliant, fearless performance against Tottenham in the Europa League. And then he did something that would become a strange, recurring trademark. He scored against Chelsea. In 2 back-to-back Champions League seasons, Basel was drawn against the London Giants, and in both the home and away fixtures, Salah found the back of the net against Chelsea. His explosive speed and dizzying trickery gave their world-class defense absolute nightmares. And it was these performances that caught the eye of the man in the Chelsea dugout, Jose Mourinho. In January 2014, Salah's wildest dream came true. He joined Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, for a fee of $11 million. The boy from Nagrig, the teenager who rode 5 buses to training, was now walking the halls of a European giant. But sometimes the most beautiful dreams can curdle into nightmares. At Stamford Bridge, Salah was completely lost. In a squad glittering with established attacking stars like Eden Hazard, Willian, and Oscar, he was an outsider. Under a manager as tactically demanding and defensively rigorous as Mourinho, a raw, instinctual winger like Salah just didn't fit the puzzle. He couldn't find his rhythm. He made only 13 Premier League appearances over a year and a half, most of them fleeting moments from the substitutes bench. His confidence, once his greatest weapon, hit rock bottom. It shattered. He felt like a failure, like he wasn't good enough for this level. His time at Chelsea was the lowest point of his career, a brutal but valuable lesson. He realized that pure speed wasn't enough. He had to become smarter, more intelligent in his movement, and far more clinical in front of goal. Unwilling to let his career just wither away on the bench, Salah knew he had to get out. He made a brave choice, agreeing to move to Italy to Fiorentina on loan in February 2015. It would prove to be the wisest decision of his life. In the beautiful city of Florence, wearing the famous purple of La Viola Salah, was reborn. He was like a fish returned to water. He was given a chance, he was trusted, and he simply exploded. He scored goals with a joyful abandon. He provided assists relentlessly. And he once again became a terror for every defense in Serie A. He rediscovered the pure, unadulterated joy of playing football, and with it the swaggering confidence he had lost in London. His incredible performances for Fiorentina didn't go unnoticed. He was now on the radar of a bigger club, AS Roma. After a successful loan season, Roma made the move permanent. And it was in the Italian capital, under the guidance of the brilliant coach Luciano Spalletti, that Salah underwent his final remarkable evolution. He was no longer just a winger who put his head down and ran. He learned to move with intelligence, to see the game 3 steps ahead, to combine instinctively with his teammates. And most importantly, his finishing improved dramatically. He became a genuine ruthless goal machine. In the 2016-17 season, he was magnificent, scoring 19 goals and providing 15 assists for Roma. He was ready. He was ready to return to the place where he had once failed England. Journeys of redemption like Salah's are what make football so special. They remind us that failure is often just a stepping stone to greatness. If you love these kinds of comeback stories, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We've got so many more tales of legends who overcame the odds, and you won't want to miss them. In the summer of 2017, Liverpool and their visionary manager, Jürgen Klopp, decided to spend a then-club record fee of $36.9 million to bring Salah back to the Premier League. Many pundits and fans were deeply skeptical. They called it a massive gamble, remembering the flop from Chelsea. They were wrong. So spectacularly wrong. From the very first whistle, Salah slotted into Klopp's high-octane gegenpressing system as if he were born for it. He, alongside the brilliant Sadio Mane and the selfless Roberto Firmino, formed one of the most devastating attacking trios the world has ever seen. They were a symphony of speed, skill, and telepathic understanding that wreaked havoc across England and Europe. Salah's first season at Liverpool, the 2017-18 campaign, was simply one of the greatest individual seasons in Premier League history. He scored an astonishing 32 goals, breaking the all-time scoring record for a 38-game season. He swept the awards: the Golden Boot, the PFA Players' Player of the Year, the FWA Footballer of the Year. He was unstoppable. He fired Liverpool all the way to the Champions League final in Kiev. But the fairy tale was about to have a heartbreaking twist. In that final against Real Madrid, just 30 minutes in, Salah was tangled in a challenge with Sergio Ramos that left him on the turf, his shoulder dislocated. He tried to play on, but the pain was too much. He left the field in a flood of tears, his dream shattered. Liverpool went on to lose. Seeing their hero cry as he walked off that pitch, the hopes of the entire red half of Merseyside seemed to sink with him. But a king does not stay down for long. He came back the next season stronger, hungrier, more determined than ever. And a year later in Madrid, Liverpool were back in the Champions League final. This time against Tottenham. In the second minute of the match, a penalty was awarded to Liverpool. An entire year of pain, frustration, and hope rested on this one kick. Salah stepped up. With the unwavering composure of a true king, he smashed the ball past Hugo Lloris, sending the Liverpool fans into delirium. It paved the way for victory, and Liverpool brought home their 6th Champions League trophy. The tears flowed again for Salah on that pitch in Madrid. But this time they were tears of pure joy, tears of redemption. The next peak came in the 2019-20 season. After a long, agonizing 30-year wait, Salah and his teammates finally ended Liverpool's title drought, winning the Premier League in utterly dominant fashion. The boy from Nagrig was now an immortal, a living legend at Anfield. To the world, he is Liverpool's superstar. But to the 100 million people of Egypt, he is so much more. He is an icon, a source of immense national pride, a modern-day pharaoh. The moment that truly defined his status came in October 2017. It was a World Cup qualifier against Congo. Egypt needed a win to book their ticket to Russia, their first World Cup in 28 long years. The score was locked at 1-1 as the match entered the dying seconds of stoppage time. Then a penalty to Egypt. An entire nation held its breath. The pressure on the 25-year-old's shoulders was unimaginable. The hopes and dreams of millions rested on his left foot. If he missed, it was all over. Salah stepped up, took a deep breath, and fired a perfect decisive shot into the corner of the net. The Borg El Arab Stadium didn't just cheer, it erupted like a volcano. From Cairo to Alexandria, from his little village of Nagrig to Aswan, the entire country of Egypt exploded in a wave of euphoric joy. Salah had single-handedly carried the Pharaohs back to football's greatest festival. Off the pitch, his influence is perhaps even greater. He never forgot where he came from. He donates millions of dollars to build schools and hospitals in his hometown. He funds weddings for poor couples and helps former players who have fallen on hard times. He is a shining example of humility, of charity, and of unwavering dedication. Mohamed Salah's journey is an epic poem of will and determination. From the small boy spending 9 hours a day on buses just to chase a ball to a star, spurned and rejected at Chelsea, reborn in the heart of Italy, and finally crowned a king at Liverpool. Every single step of his journey is a powerful lesson in never ever surrendering to adversity. His story transcends football. It's an inspiring tale for millions around the world that proves no matter where you come from, no matter how impossible the odds seem, as long as you have a dream big enough and a will made of iron, you can achieve anything. The Egyptian king continues to write new chapters in his incredible career, and his legacy will without a doubt live on forever. And that's where this incredible story concludes. What a journey, right? I'm so eager to hear your thoughts. What moment in Salah's story stood out to you the most? Did his struggle at Chelsea and his incredible comeback resonate with you? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you. Until next time, keep the passion for the beautiful game alive.